How are you? I'm very pleased and excited to meet you today again. It's been a little while, and I recognize that it has been a little bit patchy those last few days, right? So holiday season. So now the question I have for you today, it's a very simple but very important one. It's to understand. Do solar business have cycle? It's an important question to talk about. Why are we talking about that? Because I know there's many people like you, amongst you, who actually want to jump into the business. They're asking themselves many questions. They need to have some insight before they make their decision. And I'm willing actually to give that based on the experience that I had. And it's an interesting question because I was discussing that with some friends a couple of days ago, and I wanted to share that. But before I dive into that, I just want to have your opinion. So, what do you think? So, the business cycle, sorry, the solar business have cycle. What do you think about that, and why is it important to know that? So, that's the question that we're going to debate in this video. But before we dive into that, so let me first of all introduce again myself. So, my name is Tony Chiu. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa. And we're running this channel, which is all about demystifying the renewable energy sector for you. And we're doing it, and we want to make sure that, everybody, right, can feel comfortable watching our videos so that you are able to understand and explain how the industry works. For example, if you happen to be a professional, you want to jump into the sector, by watching our videos, you will know exactly how things work, and you may have a couple of questions you find response in here. So if you are a business and you're saying that my operation, I want to decarbonize that, right? So I want to run a green operation, right? But I don't know how to take it. I don't know where to start. In here, you find all the information you need. Or maybe you may be asking, you may be telling me, listen, Tony, I'm an investor. So the sector is booming at the moment. I like to invest. I like to make money, but I don't know enough about the sector. Can you help me? The question is yes, yes, I can help you. So all we need you to do is actually three things that we want you to do. First of all, if you're watching me, thank you for doing that. I would definitely appreciate that. But the first thing I want you to do is definitely subscribe. Subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't done it yet, and tell us what you think about that. So at the moment when I'm talking to you just right now, we broadcast it on 5 channels. So we have LinkedIn, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and we have Telegram. So that means you have all those channels. So there's no reason that you can be telling me that you are not watching us and you don't know exactly where to get in touch with us, right? So make sure that you subscribe to one of those channels, and you can follow what we do and what we say. And definitely, if you're on LinkedIn, make sure that you click the notification button so that you know exactly when we're going live, and you can actually attend live and ask me questions, because I love have questions that are coming from you guys, right? And I want to make sure that I deliver all the response that you have. So please make sure that you drop me questions. And I can see that on the chat. I already have a couple of people that are, oh, excellent. So okay, so there's a gentleman here asking question already. So let me come back to that. Usually, what we do is we first of all talk about the topic, and we come back to the question. But do like Mr. Stander. I love the name Stan Stander. So ask the question, and we'll see, right? So that's the first thing I say. I want you to connect. The second thing, I want you to drop a comment, and Stan Stander. So he's done well. He's already dropped the questions, and I definitely promise you that Stan, I will be responding to that. So all of you, if you're doing that as well, like Stan, just drop a question. Just tell me what you think. So what is your opinion? Respond to the question of the day. Today we're talking about, do solar business have cycles? Or ask me any other questions if you want as well, and I'm happy to respond to that. And the other thing, the third thing that I want you to do, please share this video. Share this video, because there may be some people that you know that will be interested to watch us and to ask questions as well and to attend. So you do them a favor, and you do me a favor by actually talking to them and share a video, and I will love it, and I would love to respond to that, right? So that's what I want you to do. Now let's come back into the topic, right? So let me just first of all set up the context. So I was visiting some friends a couple of days ago. So those are childhood friends, and then I have to say they've been very supportive of my journey so far. And to be honest, I can't thank them enough. And because they're a very good friend of mine, so when we got together, they were actually bombarding me with questions, right? It happened to any of us, right? So if you see one of your friends doing something that you admire, from far close, So you want to take the opportunity to find out a couple of things. And they were asking me a lot of questions regarding business, right? So how I do run it, how I work with my colleagues, and they asked me this key question. So how do you manage the up and down? And the reason they were asking that because one of my friends actually used to run a business. So back in Cameroon, actually he used to be in Paris. So went back to Cameroon, set up his business. Obviously, it didn't work exactly the way he wanted, obviously, and he wanted to know, so what is my experience? And the funny thing is, I know a lot of you either in the business already or starting a business or wanting to jump into the business. These are questions that you ask yourself. These are questions you ask yourself, and you don't necessarily have the answer to that, right? So that's why today I want us to have these questions. I want you to share my experience, but also give you the experience of people that I know or what I've seen. And you can tell me whether or not that correlates with what you are living. And if it doesn't correlate, just tell me what's your opinion. So let's now look at the question properly. So, do solar business, and by the way, just for you as well to know, so people that maybe joined us for the first time, I've been running renewables in Africa now for 6 years, right? And before renewables in Africa, so I work in the sector for more than a decade, working for as a consultant, working for other people before setting up renewables in Africa that we were running for 2 years. And running renewables in Africa, obviously, we have evolved through many business cycles, right? So before coming to this one that works for us very well, which is we actually have two ended. On one side, what we do is to promote the sector in Africa and across the globe, and we're helping businesses, right, to 10x the awareness about their product and services so that they can improve their sales perspective. And talking about that, so early September, I have a great news. I want a great call that I'm going to be sharing with you, right? So we're working on something. Definitely pay attention and keep close to us because I'm sure you're going to be loving it because I know and I can feel how people are going through, and I wanted to support and help. So, and the other side as well, beside being a media platform, we also obviously developing project for businesses where we provided fully funded solar solutions. That's what we do, right? So that's kind of my experience. And obviously having worked into the sector over this period of time, right? So you tend to acquire an experience, right? So obviously I'm not saying here that what I'm about to share with you, it's the only truth. No, I don't think so. However, it's a perspective that I'll invite you to compare with other people that you may know and make your own opinion, right? So that's what it's all about today. So now let's come back into the question: do solar businesses have cycles? First of all, why are we talking about cycle for businesses? And what kind of business, for example, have cycles? We need to understand that. I have a very good friend of mine, so she's called Saskia. So I think let me just plug a business here because it's fantastic. It's called Bloom Baker, right? It's they are bakers. They're running like a virtual bakery, right? Making biscuits for businesses. And obviously, I saw her starting this idea, and now she's running it, and she's killing it definitely. And then yeah, she's doing extremely well. But what she actually revealed to me once was that yes, her business is definitely has cycles. And what are those cycles? It tends to be when we're coming closer to big holiday seasons or big public holidays. Things like, for example, Christmas, where she would tend to make a good percentage of the, I mean, of her turnover, right? I'm not going to reveal exactly because I don't want to share the information like that without asking her. But she's actually making a big percentage of her turnover for Christmas, and then after that you have Easter, and you also have Valentine's Day, right? Because obviously, as you can imagine, when it comes close to Christmas, people want to be nice. They want to buy some biscuit, which is actually what she sells, and offer that to other people. And company will do that a lot. And also during holiday seasons, company would do a lot of parties or things like that, or maybe receptions. So they need those kind of appetizer, right? Just to give to those people. And also when you have Valentine's, yeah. So to your lovely one, you wanna be nice and offer something, right? So that's part of it. So she definitely makes a lot of money in those dates, right? And the rest of the time during the year, it's relatively low compared to those seasons. Another business actually has cycle, right? So if you're running, for example, a holiday camp, right? So because at the moment for me, I'm working, but my family they enjoy themselves somewhere nice. Yeah. So for me, I gotta do some work. So that's why I'm staying here. I'm staying with you guys. That's why you need to ask me questions, right? I need to make my time worth it. So if you work for holiday camp, right? Again, same thing. Coming close to uh summertime holidays, people are off, especially children are off work, off schools, and with family we tend to travel. And if you're running a holiday camp, definitely that's a busy time for you, right? And any school holiday will tend to be busier for you, and the rest of the time is almost dry. And up to sometimes those businesses completely, they obviously they can even close when we're actually outside of the school holidays, right? So another business that can work well as well, if you're running, for example, ski resorts, right? Especially in cold countries, right? So same thing when it comes to the time where you have snow, that's where you have tend to have your peak seasons. A lot of people are flocking in, and outside of it, clearly you don't have business, and you may even close for this sort of time. So now the question becomes, when it comes to solar, so how is it working? Do we have the same thing? Do we have also season that we can say people can apply? So one of the things that I would say here is, so if you running a solar business, so I've made it on purpose to have a very generic questions, right? Because people that are in the sector, I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised to hear me asking you, what kind of solar business are you running? Isn't it? Yeah, it's important to understand that. So, are you a developer, sort of initiating project, reaching out to client and design it? Are you a contractor, an EPC, where obviously you would have people coming and contracting you to come and build the asset, and then you build that and you go? Or are you just operational maintenance? So, what kind of business are you clearly in? So, who is your customer? Who is your customer? That's what you want to understand. And is this customer would tend to come to you only at a specific time? So if the question is yes to that, right, then there is a chance that you may be asking yes to the question before. If the answer is no to that, obviously the reverse also will be true. So that's very much important for you to understand it. So what kind of business are you in? Yeah. So what kind of solar business are you really in? And I've used the term solar business, but to be honest, it actually would apply to any renewable energy company. And if you're saying, for example, that okay, you are serving businesses, like for example, we serving businesses, right? So again, you may want to drill down a little bit more and then ask the question and say, um, what those businesses, are they in a particular sector, or are they in, let's say, a very diverse sector, a broad spectrum? What are they? You want to be specific. For example, let's come back to what I mentioned to do before. If you like Saskia and you're serving, for example, customers that will tend to come to you at a specific time of the year, right? Most likely that will be the case. So how could you apply for the solar business? Let me be even more specific. Let's imagine, for example, you have portable solar system where you're able to provide power to holiday resorts, right? So that means if that's your specific area of operation, obviously, right, because customer will tend to come to you only in holiday season, then clearly that would have an impact in you, right? If on the opposite, you actually have a very diverse range of customer whereby they come in any time of the year, clearly the answer will be different. So you need to understand who are your customer, and are those customer in a very specific area for you to understand whether or not. Because actually, so being a solar business, I would just make an assumption that what you're doing, you're actually serving businesses, right? So what you're doing, it's providing a commodity for business to run, right? So which is power, and that commodity is power. And if you think carefully, power, normally you need power any time of the year, isn't it? Right? Any time of the year. Now, it's also true to say, so there may be some period of time where you need more power than the other, right? That's very important. That's why, for example, in our case, right? Because I say one of second mandate is to it's to be solar developer, right? So when we, because for example, at the moment, I'm looking at a second project in Nigeria whereby we closed the first one already. It's currently in construction. That second one, right? So with my team, we're designing the solutions. And obviously, I'm sure those of you in the sector, you won't be surprised me here saying that. But you want to understand what is the load profile? What is the load profile of this customer? So that you know what is the peak and what is it low. And you want to know the load profile not only for the day, just to have an average of what it looks like, right? And also, what is the load profile over a period of time? I mean, ideally, you want to have 6 months to 12 months to understand whether there was a time of the year where it's particularly low, another time of the year where it's particularly high. And based on that, you will design your business, your business around that. So in this case, so when you do that, it's not your business that's having cycle. It's actually the load that you are looking to serve or to provide, or you get to supply power to serve this load. This actually has this this cycle. So you clearly want to understand that. So for me, it really comes down to what kind of business you are serving. If you a customer you are serving, if you understand properly what kind of customer you are serving, that it gives you an idea whether or not your business, your solar business will have cycle or not. And if it has cycle, you want to properly understand, even drill down a little bit more. So why do we have those cycles, right? And when those cycles happen, what can I do? That's a key question, right? So because if you have it's good. I'm pretty much sure when you have a business, it's not a case whereby you can have some employees and say, hey, I'm just going to employ you, let's say 6 months in the year, and the rest of the time we just go. You can do that, but it's a bit difficult to find people that want to stay with you, isn't it? Right? So that you need to plan it accordingly so that when you're having a low season, you're able to compensate that somewhere else, or making sure that you generate enough revenue during the busy time to be able to cover for the downtime, right? So pick and trough, I will usually design it. Yeah. So that's what I would say. But let me just finish off and say, basically, what I've been saying so far is to say that unless you are serving a particular kind of customer with a cycle business, in which case it would have an impact as well on your business. You also will become a solar business with cycles. In general, the solar business is not meant to have cycles simply because you're providing a commodity that people need, which is throughout the year. But it's also true to say that commodity can serve a load which is high at certain amount of time and low in other times. So that you may want to understand, but you still will have those customers, right? So that's the response to say not necessarily cycles the solar business would have, or clean energy business would have. Now, let me also give you another response though, which is a little bit more generic, and this is really part of my experience. That's something that I have observed, and I'd be very curious to find out what are you guys finding. Because I can see already that uh, Stan send me a question. Also, have Hans Stadler, so I'm going to look at your question later on, guys. So I like to find out what you think about that. So more from much more generic point of view, I personally actually have realized that yes, they some kind of, I don't know what I can call it, cycle, but it's almost like different season in the business that you need to recognize. I've made the observation that for me, I will divide the year in 4 quarters, right? Like all of us. I'm saying that like I'm clever, but in fact, all of us will divide it into 4 quarters, right? And most of the time, I realize that, especially now, we tend to be in the holiday season, right? So in many countries, right, whether in the Western countries or in the country is hot, and obviously children are actually off school. And during that time, a lot of people would travel, right? So a lot of people, because don't forget, business is about people, isn't it? It's about people. So, and if you engage with some people, and if you want to win some businesses, it implies that you need to get some contract signed. Because, for example, I can tell you right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm waiting for 2 guys to come back to me, and I've been waiting for some time. And I know that in August it's going to be a little bit of a slow month. Why? Because people are on holidays. And also people rely on other people to complete maybe a decision, and not everybody is back in office. So that's a fact. So I realized that actually when we come to the summer, business tends to be a little bit slow, right? It tends to be a little bit slow. And over the years, right? So I've been obviously exploring and then wanting to do something different to prove to myself that it wasn't the case. But most of the time, it tends to be slower than other months. So for me, the way I actually divide the year, and I don't know whether that's the same for you, I have those 4 quarters, right? And I've actually realized that for me, the most productive one in terms of reaching out to customer and getting a lot of engagement tends to be the first quarter. Yeah. So that's actually what I have. I have seen when you go from January to March. Why? Because you come out Christmas, you're starting a new year. People are very motivated, right? New year resolutions. I want to do better. I've defined a new objective. I want to actually kickstart the new year with lots of energy just to make sure that we can finish that strong and we can do better than previous year, right? And obviously, most of the time as well, you already have budget that already have been defined by customer, meaning that now they're in a psychological space whereby they can make decision and they want to make decision and they want to give momentum to the year. So if you are very productive during that time, you can actually get a lot done during that, or at least get a lot of deals, if not closed, but at least advanced, right? So that's the first quarter, right? And it sort of end up towards March, obviously, when you're coming toward Easter time, right? And then you have the break of Easter. When you have the break of Easter, as you can imagine, people go on Easter, you have a little bit of a slump there for a couple of weeks. And then the second quarter will start. So the second quarter is almost like the continuation, right, of the first. You also have a lot of things that you can get done, maybe a little less than the first quarter, but you still have a lot of things that you can get done, right? And it's kind of a continuation. So if you started something, you want to continue during that time, right? So that's what I see. Now, when come the third one, right? So you have it till July, so yeah, something like uh, uh, yeah, July all the way to September. So you have 2 months there, July and August, especially August, is almost like a dead month. Not a lot is happening. So that means if you couldn't get anything done the first 2 quarters, so there's a good chance that it's going to be dragging a little bit in that third quarter. Simply because, like I say, you struggle to get everybody to get a consensus from everybody you need to get things to be moving, right? And with those holidays, there's not a lot you can do, right? Because people need holidays, right? You can't do without it, right? So you have to adjust it. You have to adjust it. So and then when come and people will tend to be, and also I'm sure I can have another video about that. The psychology of customers is very important. When you're coming close toward holidays, people don't think about business anymore. Yeah, they're thinking about what's going to be my holidays, where am I going to go with my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, whatever you want, where am I going to enjoy myself. That's where they are. So don't pay attention, right? I can tell you, for example, right? So as I'm speaking to you right now, so I'm having 2 customers, right? So they need to pay me bill, but they're late. Obviously, we've been chasing them, but I also know that they're late because a lot of people are on holiday. It's frustrating, but it's the truth. Yeah. So when they come back in September, you literally have, I would say to me, so September and October to get things done very quickly, right? Before after that, you go to the fourth quarter, right? So starting from October, go all the way to December, and definitely make sure that you can get things done, before mid-November, I would say, because when you get to that stage, anything past that, in general, will tend to be postponed to the following year. And people now start dragging their feet. They think they are closing the year. They think they have been very careful. We use all of the budget. We're about defining the new budget. Everything's If it's not very quick or a quick win, it's going to be shifted back. Especially if you are actually having big customers, because big customers, I'm hoping or I believe you should know that So the sales cycle takes a lot more time, especially in the B2B configuration. B2C is a little bit different, right? Because most of the time, what you have in front of you for the B2C is a decision maker. But for the B2B, clearly, the decision maker, it's a long chain, right? Most of the time, the first person you're talking to, it's not the guy who's going to close the deal for you. No. So he's reporting to somebody else, I report to somebody else, and so on and so forth, right? So that's and that's last quarter, as I say. If you don't get things done October, November, I say it's a good chance that anything else will get shifted to to the following year. So that fourth quarter is not very, it's not very productive, right? And this is an observation that over the last 6 years that I've been running renewables in Africa, that is what I have seen, right? And but this will not apply only to solar, and that's, I would argue, it's more a generic, yeah, cycle, that a business cycle that I would see for almost any business, almost, unless, as I say, so you happen to have businesses that focus on a specific period of the year. For example, like New Year or Christmas. If you have a business that they provide holiday or provide entertainment to people, obviously you're going to do extremely well during that time because that's your business model. But if you're not in those particular area, what you will find, yes, it's I wouldn't be surprised whether you will be having an experience that is similar towards what I've described, right? But let me just stop talking here because I want to hear from you, right? I've been talking a lot, and I've been and that's, again, let me share. That's my personal experience running the company for a number of years, and also having worked for other big group as well before. That's something I've seen. I remember when I used to work. I used to work for Ford, right, for example, and I remember, right. So we knew that if you don't get, if you were waiting for a decision approval from your boss, if you don't get it done past a certain time, you can always forget it, right? You know that you gotta have to wait, maybe another couple of months, maybe shift it to the following year. So that's a reality. And the good thing knowing this, right, is that if you know that in advance, you know how to organize your year, right? So you can anticipate, because that's the key skills in business. At least that's what I'm finding. Being able to anticipate is very important, right? So that you know how. Because I can tell you that's what I spend my time doing, looking at, okay, how am I going to get things done? How am I going to move this, move that? Yeah, so it's important. And because I know those, basically those different seasons in the business, so it helps me to guide things along. Obviously, it's not 100% accurate. It's not necessarily true for everybody. It's my experience, but I want to know from you. So whether you're having something similar or it's not the same at all, right? It's completely different. So this is where I like to hear more from you. So let me just stop at this point, and then first of all, thanking all of you who have been listening so far, and I'll be delighted to take some questions at this stage. Yeah. So let's see. So I can see a couple of questions that have been asked me. So let me jump into that. But let me also call all the people who have been listening, been very patient, just hearing me talk on my own for now. Ask questions, please, guys. So do me a favor, ask questions, and don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to do it. As I can say, Stan has done it, Hans has done it. Feel free to share this video, especially if you like what I'm saying, or even if you don't like, because I want to know basically what I'm saying makes sense or not, right? Because I'm also here to learn from you, right? So that'd be great. So what? Let me see what Stan is saying. Okay, Stan is saying, okay, Stan Standard. I love this name, guys. I love this name. How can we support? We have expertise funding, Stan Standard. Well, I guess, Stan, I don't know if you'd be more specific. Support what businesses, support a project developer, support who exactly? And if you could be very specific, that'd be great. So if you have expertise in funding, excellent, that's great. So what kind of expertise? Helping people raising business. So I need a little bit from you, if you don't mind. So before I can respond to that. Now, if you just say, if I can guess, you probably, I guess, talking about how can you help people that are looking for funding. Well, listen, uh yeah, we do know some people. It could be like, if we organize a webinar, we could get you invited. We can, you can talk to us. We can talk to you about the formalities, get you invited to a webinar where maybe tackling this question. It could be you could be discussing that, because as I say, one of our key product at renewables in Africa, it's helping businesses like you to know how to 10x awareness about the product and services. In your case, your service is about providing funding support to business that are looking for money, right? So, and the question and the challenge that you're having, I'm guessing, which is a challenge many people are guessing, is not a lot of people. So, not a lot of people will know that you're around or will get to know you, right? So, as renewables in Africa, we can help you reaching out to these people, right? So, and making sure that you can get a number of them, contacting them. So that's one thing that we can do. Feel free to reach out to us. I'll be delighted to talk to you, right? So I'm just gonna get one of my team to get your address and reach out to you. Excellent. Okay. Great, brilliant. So, but if you want to actually be more specific in your question, I appreciate it as well. Yeah, thanks, Stan Stander. I have Hans Stadler. Okay, we can implement the project. We bring our know-how and the financing. So it almost feels like you guys working together, Hans and Stan. But let me just make that um let me not just make that assumption, because yeah, I just like the question feels a little bit similar. So we can implement, we can bring our know up. That's fine. Again, as I said, so it will apply to you. One of the key things that we do, for example, we've done it with a couple of clients right now, is they have product and services. They want to reach out to a certain audience, and clearly a certain audience that will tend to connect with us, renewables in Africa. They reach out to us, and then we then help them to better connect to the target audience, and to make sure that as well they can get some interesting lead there, right? So we have a RIA awareness program, as we call it, the RIA awareness program that we design that is specific to you, that respond to your needs. So I would say same thing, reach out to us, and then we can talk about it. Again, I'm gonna get colleagues reaching out to you. So very happy to talk to you about that, about what you want to do. So yes, we can help, but we need to discuss that a little further, if that's fine. So let me see if there is any. I don't know whether there is any other questions from guys who want to know what is that. I wouldn't say what we do, because you guys know what we do right now. But if you have, if anybody has any specific question with regard to the current question. So do solar business have cycles? So I'm hoping that is clear what I've said. So if it's not clear, again, feel free to reach out to me. So let me first of all thank Stan Stander and Hans Stadler from for asking questions. I love it when people ask questions so we can engage, and I appreciate that. So Hans and Stan, so feel free as well to share the video. People that definitely make sure that you subscribe to all our platforms, and subscribe to notification button on YouTube, so that you know when we're going live. So you get that notification. So that's great. Yeah, and leave a comment just like what you've done there. And then what I want to say though is we always respond to any question that people ask, right? So I may not always obviously do that immediately, but either me or one of my colleagues will do that afterwards, because we want to make sure that whatever question that you get asked, it's our job to respond to that, right? So, because we also realize that you're taking a bit of your time to attend. So that's what I would say so far. Yeah, I don't see any more questions, so I would take it that what I've said is clear to people, and hopefully it's helpful. And also let me know, don't forget. Yeah, so what is your opinion? So, oh, listen to that. It looks like I have another question. Always happen to me when I'm about to leave. Somebody pop a question, but I love it. Okay, that's a question from Glenn Algie. What style of typical microgrid? Whoa, that's a kind of a random question here. So, what's a typical microgrid? So, okay, let me make a microgrids, I would say you talked about a few kilowatts here, right? So that is what I would tend to say. So microgrid, I can see a grid that is connecting maybe four the 5 to 10 houses, and each of these houses may have something like you know 2 kilowatts only, that's necessary for them. So, and if you're going on the basis that you have five of them, so you have 10 kilowatt, right? So I would say anything between 10 and 20 or 10 to 30 kilowatt, that's where you tend to have most of the microgrid. The microgrid usually you find in many rural areas. So that's where you tend to find it. So Glenn, are you operating the microgrids? Are you an investor in a microgrid? So be good as well for you to tell me what is that you do, and then because I guess you may have a particular interest into microgrid, otherwise I guess you will not be asking the questions. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, and in any case as well, we can have further. Happy to have that conversation with you, and then tap into that. Yeah, but again, thank you very much for your questions. I love it. Yeah, and I can see as well. Even you went further and you responded. Say BMS solar hydronics mix. Uh, I'm not sure what you're referring to that as well, but clearly what you have there, it's the different component that you have in the microgrid. So yeah, so BMS, I guess you talk about the battery monitoring system, isn't it? Solar PV. So as I say, so you will look at anything. I would say 10, 30 kilowatts. That's where you have your microgrid, and you then will need to have component that are able to take those yeah, a grid that could take those components. Yeah, so hopefully that is happening. Is that okay? Is that cool? So I probably will have to call it a day at this stage, because I don't think there is any other question. But thank you already, guys. For those of you who connected, feel free to please share the video. People that you know would be interested by the conversation. And for me, I'm looking forward to talking to you very soon. Yeah, on Sunday, because on Wednesday we're doing 5:30 BST time, and then on Sunday we're doing it at 2:30 BST time. I know that these last few weeks I have been shifting a little bit, because you understand, like all of you, I have to juggle as well. So family commitment and work commitment. But you guys are my second family, so I can't not respond to you. So okay, Glenn is saying thanks for the info. Nice to see you for those live visitations. So thank you also to you, Glenn. Thanks for attending. I would say so. The only reason I keep on doing those lives is because I have people like yourself who will attend and ask questions, making it interesting for everybody else to listen to. Last thing but not the least, feel free, guys, to suggest as well some topic that you want us to discuss, and I'll be happy to bring you my perspective of it, right? So, yeah, and because obviously I touched on many aspects of the industry over the last decade that I've been in this industry. So, yeah, happy to cover a number of them. And if I don't know, as I'm doing some time, I'll bring in an expert that can discuss with us and give us his opinion. Is that okay? Is it cool? Okay, guys, excellent. Very happy to be able to reconnect with you, and like it does all the times, fills me with joy and energizes me, and sort of making me feel impatient to have the next one. Is that okay? Excellent, guys. So superb. So pleasure to have you here, and like I usually say, may the sun guy be with you. Look after yourself, and looking forward to see you definitely on Sunday, guys. Take care. Ciao.